Hey y'all, I'm Sammy and welcome back to this week's video. This week I have 5 of the absolute best and most delicious Southern comfort food suppers. Well, in my opinion at least, but they are some of my favorite and some of my family's favorites. So sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get to cooking, y'all. Come on, let's go. All right, y'all, let's make some pork chops. So we've got a ranch packet, some Worcestershire, some black garlic seasoning, and some pepper, and of course our chops right there. And then this beefy onion soup mix is going to be for these taters right there. So let's get right on into this one and get to cooking. So first off, all we're going to do is slice up, wash, and whatever you want to do to your taters right there. Put them in a glass bowl and drizzle it with some olive oil. And then we're going to start adding in the seasonings right here, along with a little bit of butter, little pitty pat of butter. Dump some of the sour cream and onion seasoning on them, that beefy onion soup mix, and give them a good old stir together just to make sure everything is incorporated. Now, I love to share this hack with people because it's so easy. And if you don't want to turn your oven on during the summer, but you want some taters, this is the way to go. So wrap some saran wrap around it real tight, and then put it in the microwave for about 10 to 12 minutes. Do not touch it. And then once you take them out, you'll be amazed. They are just so good. So while those taters are cooking, we're going to start on this marinade. So we're going to dump in some pepper, some black garlic, the ranch packet, yes, the whole packet, and then however much Worcestershire sauce you want. I think I did about 2 to 3 tablespoons, and then about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil as well. My camera was blurry here and I didn't even know it, but toss those chops in there, and then give them a little happy shake right there, and just let all that marinade get all over those pork chops, and kind of let those sit there while you do everything else. And then we'll go ahead and put them on the sheet pan. And then any of the extra marinade I just pour on top like you see right there. And then I'll just kind of like dab it on with that brush. And then we're going to put these into a 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. It just depends on y'all's oven. Mine cooks a little bit faster since it's gas, but you just got to watch that internal temperature. But I'm going to go ahead and stick those on in there and let those cook, and then we're going to work on our sides. Now, it might not look like that saran wrap's on there, but it is. It just suctions down because it steams in the microwave, and they are just so buttery, soft. They are so good. Y'all have to try this. They are absolutely amazing. So we're just going to go ahead and give those a stir and let those sit off to the side. But there's the beans, our potatoes, and our pork chops. Y'all, these were absolutely amazing. Please give it a try. I have the recipe link down below. Now this one is definitely a family favorite. We're going to make some good old buttermilk fried chicken. So I've just got some bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs right here. In my opinion, thighs and legs do the best. But if you like boneless, skinless chicken breast, you can still do it this way too. I just put those chicken thighs in there and dump buttermilk over it, kind of give them a toss a little bit, let those sit there, because that buttermilk is really going to help with that tenderness of that chicken and the moisture of it. So I've got my flour, my spinach, my little packet of gravy. Yes, I'm cheating on the gravy, but that's all right. I needed to save some time. And of course I got those taters boiling. So we're going to go ahead and get this flour dumped on in a bowl right here, because the chicken's already been soaking in that buttermilk. We're going to take it straight from there, dip it in that flour, and then we're going to pour a little bit more seasoning on top of it. I know that's a seasoned flour, and it was good, but I just always add a little bit more to it. But we're just going to go ahead and keep on flouring up those chicken thighs right there, and then we're going to go ahead and pop them in the oil. Now, I always take a little bit of that flour and put it in my oil just to kind of test it, and I have just vegetable oil and some butter is what I have in this pan right here. So iron skillet's the best way, in my opinion, to fry chicken, but if you ain't got it, that's fine. You just fry it with whatever you have. But I usually do about 10 to 12 minutes on each side, and it gets that temperature to 165 degrees internally because seriously? Because you want to make sure, because bone-in skin on chicken takes longer to cook because of that bone. So anywho, you fry that chicken on up, and let's get these taters mashed. So I have a half of a brick of cream cheese and a half stick of butter, and we can always, you know, change it up if we need more. And then I pour in some half and half in my potatoes as well. But here's everything all cooked up, and y'all, this was so good. I love me some fried chicken. Let me tell you something, you gotta have beans. I love me some beans. So we're just gonna make some Great Northern beans this time, just to switch it up. Usually I make soup beans, brown beans, pintos, whatever you call them. But I've got my Great Northerns right here, some diced up onions, some Saison Goya, a ham hock, and of course some chicken bouillon powder. But we're just gonna go ahead and get everything in the crock pot. Soak my beans overnight. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then I pour about 1 inch of water over top of my beans in a crock pot. That's what I'm showing y'all right here. That's just how I do it. It's always worked good for me. No drying of the beans, didn't run out of water or anything. So I dump my onions in here, and then that packet of that ham flavoring that comes in them beans, some chicken bouillon, and then 2 packs of that Saison Goya. I also add in just a little bit of salt. I don't put in too much salt with Great Northerns or any bean until after it's cooked. And of course, some peppers got to go in there. We're going to give that a good old stir. And then once we get this stirred up to where all that seasoning's all over everything, we'll drop in that ham hock. And then that is literally all I do to my beans. I'll put the lid on them and then let them slow cook all day while I'm at work. And then by the time I get home, voila, here they are. They are all cooked up. And as you can see, the beans are pretty much up at the top again. And the ham hock is, I'm going to, you know, take it on out and shred up that meat in there and put it back in the beans as well. But I'm going to go ahead and slice up these taters, chop them up, whatever you want to call it. We're going to fry up some of this jalapeno cheddar sausage along with it. And I also got some smoked sausage too to fry up with them taters. That's how we've always done it. But this little mandolin come from my pampered chef party that I had, and I absolutely love it to slice all those taters real quick. And it comes in handy with onions as well. And you keep your hands completely away from the blade. So that is a winner to me, let me tell you. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop up all my veggies and get them over to the side. Here I'm showing you the onions that I chopped up. No tears over here. That was so nice not to have to be crying to chop up no onion. And then right here, I'm just slicing up that smoked sausage that I was telling y'all about to add into those taters. And then you'll see that jalapeno cheddar sausage. I picked that up from Mississippi the last time I was down there. And y'all, I will definitely be getting some more. It was not too spicy. It was just right. And I absolutely loved it. So starting off to fry my taters, I got some oil and some butter. And then I'm going to throw that smoked sausage in there and let that render off and brown up. And then we'll take everything out of this pan, and that's what we're going to put our taters on into. Now this was some, what is it? Canuck sausage, I think. I cannot remember what the name of it was. But anyways, it's from down Mississippi too, so I'll be getting some more of it. So we're going to go ahead and throw these taters on in there, season in layers. Just to your little heart's content, and that's how you have to season whatever you want to put in there. That's how you cook. It's your family, you do it your way. And then we're going to go and give these taters a toss and add in those onions. I know I didn't show it on here, but I did put them in there. I almost forgot, to be honest, but I did get those onions added. We'll let that lid sit in there until they're all nice and brown. And here is that sausage after I cut it up so y'all could see the inside of it. Whew, this stuff is so good. And we're going to go ahead and start fixing up our plates. But here's everything after I got it all cooked up. And there's those taters with the fried sausage in it, y'all. Whew, this is Southern to me, let me tell you something. Y'all know growing up down south, we had meatloaf because it was one of them cheap and easy, quick put together meals. And I absolutely love it, and so does my family. So I've got 2 pounds of lean ground beef, some Kinder's meatloaf seasoning, Lipton onion soup mix, 3 eggs, some milk, saltine crackers, and of course my good old handy dandy mixing bowl. So I've got both pounds of my ground beef in there. I'm going to add in all 3 eggs to it, and then the Kinder's meatloaf seasoning packet. Y'all, this is really good. Y'all should try that. My beefy onion soup mix, the whole sleeve of saltines, and a 1/2 cup of milk go into it, and I'm using the best tools that God ever gave me. Those are my hands. If y'all don't care for it, just skip over this part, but this is how I've always done it, and it's never hurt me, and same thing for my family members. So in my baking dish, I'm going to go ahead and spray it. We're going to pat that meat on down, and then we're going to stick that into a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes, depending on the thickness of your meatloaf. You just got to watch that internal temperature. So here's some leftover taters from when I had that fried chicken. I'm just going to add some to it. Waste not, want not in this house. I was going to use this roux to make my gravy for my meatloaf, but I decided not to. I'm just going to save that for like my gumbos and stuff. And then we're going to heat up some of the leftover spinach from that fried chicken and some corn, and that's going to be supper tonight. So here is the gravy, since that meatloaf's already in the oven. I just took a little bit of bacon grease and put in some flour. About equal parts is what you want when you're making a roux, okay? So I had about 1 tablespoon to 1 tablespoon. If you need more, just customize it however you want to. This is how I was taught to make a gravy. And then once that flour come together, I added in a little bit of water, and then let that get to a smoother consistency. And then I just add in my milk or heavy whipping cream. If you don't have that, you can always use water too. It works out just fine. But then we're going to add in our seasonings, whatever you want to it, until it gets to your liking. But here's everything once it is all cooked up. There's that meatloaf, those creamy, delicious mashed taters, the spinach, and of course our corn and our gravy. This meal was absolutely delicious. Definitely tasted like home. All right, y'all, last but not least, let's make a big old pot roast. So this is my 3-packet pot roast. I have shared it many, many times, but you'll need a pack of ranch, a pack of brown gravy, and an Italian seasoning packet with 1 cup of water, whatever veggies you want, and a big old chuck roast. So I have already sprayed my crock pot. I'm going to put a layer of onions at the bottom, lay my chuck roast in there, season it on top with whatever you want. I'm just using Badia Complete. Then we're going to dump all them vegetables right on top of it, make it all happy. And we're going to kind of break up those onions a little bit. That way it's more all over the roast. And then once we have all the onions and everything separated how I want to, you'll put some more seasoning on top of that. Like I said, I season with my heart. Whatever makes me happy, that's what I put in there. Just like Tam says, season with your heart. So in that cup of water, you're going to dump all 3 packets on in there, give it a good old stir, dump it over top of everything in that crock pot, and then we're going to put our lid on it. You don't have to add no other butter, nothing, no extra water. Trust me on this. That cup is going to be plenty. Put that lid on it, cook it on low all day for 8 to 10 hours. The longer, the better with a chuck roast. But this day, I had to cook it on high for about 6 hours because I didn't get it started in time. But it worked out just fine. It was still just as tender. So we're going to go ahead and throw this all into a bowl and a plate and serve it on up. But this was supper this night. And that finishes out this week's video. I really and truly hope y'all enjoyed this. All the recipes, if I have one, will be linked down below in my description box. So please make sure y'all go check that out. But I wish you all the very best. If anyone is in need of prayer, please let me know below. I will be honored to pray for you all. And if y'all give any of these a try, just let me know what y'all think. Until next time, my sweet friends, I wish you all nothing but the very best. God bless. Bye.